Typical of anybody who is at that stage, a child at that level.
Just like any young man with aspirations would wish to become something in future.
My father was a soldier.
So was the case with engineer Hilary Onek.
I wanted to become a soldier.
However, along his education path, his capability showed him another direction.
By the time I reached senior 3, I already changed my mind.
Day 5 of May, 1948, the Pakala clan of the Acholi in northern Uganda was treated to an audition in the birth of Hilary Obaloker Onek. The well-experienced civil engineer, who will soon hit his 73rd birthday, was born in Palabek to Samson Okello Otto and Jera Ayo Otto. Mzee Otto, as Onek prefers to describe his late father, was then serving in the King's African Rifles in Kenya when he married Mama Ayo.
In Parabegem, sub-county in Lamour district.
Onek attended St. Paul's Demonstration School, Kangole, for primary education before proceeding to St. Mary's College, Kisubi, for his O and A levels. It was from here that he advanced to Makerere University for a Bachelor of Science degree, a course he never completed.
I had opportunity to go and read engineering in Eastern Europe, and I went to Moscow where I studied civil engineering, and I extended further into my master's degree, and later I worked in a research laboratory at the Moscow Institute of Civil Engineering.
It was from Moscow Institute of Civil Engineering that he returned to Uganda after the overthrow of the then Ugandan president, Idi Amin Dada. He embarked on a new life in Uganda as a lecturer at Makerere University, inculcating students with knowledge in water resources, hydrotechnical, structural, and highway engineering.
Professionally, I'm a civil engineer, and my performance as a civil engineer has stood out over the period of time. When I restored the water systems in Kampala, and I've contributed in the appreciation of engineering in many fields, like in the hydropower construction, where I specialized for my master's, and I did extensive research in that area of dam construction and hydropower structures.
With such professional qualifications, Onek found himself a chief engineer at National Water and Sewerage Corporation.
And we improvise the technologies to ensure that we restored water in Kampala within 5 months of my tenure as chief engineer in National Water. And we continued to develop the water systems, not only now in Kampala, but also Jinja and Tebe, and we proceeded further to other towns of the country.
Here, it did not take long before he rose to assume the most top job of managing director at the corporation. The culture of teamwork, backed by consultations before decision-making, was always top on his menu.
My initial step was to make sure I brought together the workers and make them to understand that all of us are workers. Even me as managing director, I earn salary. I persuaded them to work harder and improve the environment so that we can earn better as workers. And we became allies. And that challenge, I overcame it very successfully.
His commitment and passion for service saw him personally redesign and rebuild the Manafa Water Works, which a British contractor had failed.
They omitted a number of things in their designs. And when they completed the works in 1987, and it was commissioned, within 48 hours, there was a huge explosion at the station. The whole system was blown up by water pressure. We set it up to work again, and when we switched it on, I stayed there at Bumbu for 1 week at the water station to observe to see that the system is working according to the design. Thereafter, when now I was satisfied that it performed well, I invited the minister at that time, it was the late Chango Machu, to commission the water system.
To achieve all this, it took bravery, as it was bumpy and humpy, navigating the road to his success at National Water. The road was bumpy in the sense that he resisted the sale of National Water to private players.
Our turnover was in excess of 3 billion shillings, that time as a National Water, by 1989, 1990. And that was a lot of money at the time. But our expenditure was only 1.4 billion. So we used to make surplus of about 1.6 billion. And that surplus, part of it, we would inject back in the development of the institution, of the various infrastructure, and part of it we used to pay to the treasury. So we were a money-making institution. There was no reason why the company should have been sold.
Civil service aside and corporate battles away, it came to a time for him to take another path in his career.
I wanted to have appreciation of business management, and I did the MBA course. Within 2 years, I got my MBA from Makerere University.
The other question some people could be asking is, how did he end up in political leadership? We seek to answer this question next week on Sunday, as we explore the life of Hilary Onek, the politician,
The people of Lamoa were looking for a candidate,
and a farmer.
We have learned.
Henry Okrut, UBC.